I'm going to take a little bit of a risk this morning. And what I want to do is I want to talk about one of the most polarizing figures in human history. And I realize that by talking about this polarizing figure, we're going to take a little bit of risk about what happens in this room. But depending on where you are with this particular figure, basically you either love him or you hate him. He's either a source of incredible security or tremendous stress. Either he's a source of great freedom or you have found him to be a source of great bondage. It's somebody that makes you really, really happy or has made you really, really sad. And I want to take this controversial, polarizing figure, and what I want to do is I want to rip his mask off this morning so we can find out whether he's a great friend or a ghoulish fiend. And I need to let you know right up front that in doing some preliminary research about this particular figure, I have found that he is actually both. It all depends on how you relate to him. Who is this polarizing figure? Money. That's right, money. And yes, we are going to talk about money in church. Applause! Yeah. You know what? There are two pretty normal responses to hearing that we're going to talk about money in church. The first normal response is basically panic. Yeah, it's like, oh, run for your lives! The church is going to talk about money. Grab your wallet, clutch your purse. The dreaded money monster message is about to be unleashed. The church is after my money again. I'm crazy. Isn't that a common reaction? Oh, they want your money. Well, you know what? If you kind of have a little bit of that reaction going on this morning, I just want you to relax. We're not going to ask you for anything. Not going to pass an offering plate. Not going to pressure you to do anything. And even though the church is really, really good at this, we're not even going to try to guilt you into doing anything. Another common reaction is indignance. That's kind of like folding our arms and going, who do you think you are talking about money in church? You're supposed to talk about spiritual things in church, not money. I mean, money's personal, right? So I don't know who you think you are, but this is not the kind of subject that you ought to be talking about in church. Now, if you have a little bit of that kind of reaction, let me just share with you that money is a very spiritual topic. In fact, all of life is a reflection of, is an outgrowth of our own personal spirituality. In fact, if you happen to be a follower of Jesus here this morning, we ought to be wanting to bring all of our life under the lordship of Jesus. And we ought to want to open the good book and our checkbook side by side and say, Jesus, what do you have to say, if anything, about the topic of money? Because I want to honor you in this area. And by the way, Jesus had a lot to say about money. He thought it was a spiritual subject. In fact, Jesus talked more about money than any other single subject. Think about that. There are over 800 scriptures that talk about money. It was Jesus' most frequent topic. Let's just ask ourselves a question. Why? Why would Jesus talk so much about money? Was Jesus greedy? How many think Jesus was one greedy dude? How many think Jesus was a dude? He wasn't. Yeah, by me, God. Yeah, he wasn't greedy. Was Jesus trying to build this lavish lifestyle? Was he trying to show up on Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous? I mean, when it came to the end of his life, the only possession he owned was literally the shirt on his back. He said, look, birds have nests, foxes have holes. I don't even have a place to lay my head. Jesus was certainly not greedy. He was not trying to live some lavish lifestyle, but he was talking a lot about money. Why? Is it possible, is it just possible, that he did that because he had our best interest at heart? Just ask him. Is it possible that Jesus wanted to help us, that he wanted to free us, that he wanted to bless us by helping us to understand money? Could it possibly be that there were some things about money that Jesus just knew? He knew really, really well. And he knew these things about money would make it so that money would be a huge challenge to almost every person. And if we didn't get it right, it just meant trouble and grief and stress. Could it be? See, I think it is. In fact, I think there are basically three things that Jesus knew about money that made it why he talked about it so often. First, Jesus knew that money was necessary. You gotta have money. Have you noticed that? You gotta have money. It's a necessity in the world. You know why that's true? God made it that way. You see, there are some things that you and I need, some things that you and I want, that we can't produce. So we have to go to somebody who can produce it and get it from them by paying them something, so that they can take what we have paid them and they can get things that they want or need that they can't produce. That's the way the world works. It's how God set up the world, and it's yet another example that human beings are interdependent upon each other. That's how God made us. He made it so that you need my contribution, I need your contribution, and he made it so that as human beings, we have to find a way to work together for the common good. That's how God set up the world. So money is just a necessity. You gotta have it. And here's the thing. Because money is a necessity, when you don't have money, or when you don't have enough money, it really stresses the system, doesn't it? Or can you relate to that statement at all? When you don't have money, or when you don't have enough money, it really stresses the system. You see, in a way, not to the degree, but in a way, money is like air. Money is like water. Money is like food. We need it to survive. And just like if you go without air, and you go without air for very long at all, you start getting desperate, and you'll do anything to get it. I remember when I was quite small, probably an early grade schooler, I went over to a friend's house who lived on a lake. We went down to their pier, and we were about to go swimming when my friend's mom said she forgot something, she needed to go up to the house and get it. And she said very clearly to me and my friend, stay on the dock, don't go into the water until I get back. So what did me and my friend do? It's exactly what we did. We waited until she could not be seen, and we were in the water because we could not wait. We dove off into the dock a couple of times and climbed back up. And I remember one time after diving in and climbing back up, I looked for my friend and I couldn't find him anywhere.